Hello and welcome to the Faith Culture Podcast. My name is Oluwashina Akunde from Lagos, Nigeria. And today on the show, I have with me Maurice the Connector. He is a life coach and international inspirational speaker. Maurice, you're welcome to the show today.
Thank you very much, Akade. It's lovely to be here with you. You know what I mean? Meeting you was good because meeting like-minded people and connecting with people, hence why I'm called a connector, is most enjoyable for me.
Absolutely.
I just want to inspire people. And I want to say to every one of you that's listening, man, we're all born to do something in this world. We're all kings and queens. And my hashtag is wear your own crown. And the reason for that is I'm wearing my crown now, but it wasn't always like that. I believe when we're born, we're fighting to find ourselves. I believe that God has given every one of us a gift, but we need to find it. You know what I mean? And Akade's subject is pain to purpose, pain to power. And I'm going to tell you my story, which is I give God the glory about how I was able to become this person of purpose. It wasn't always like that. I grew up. Do you want me to continue? Do you want me to continue? Is okay?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, I grew up with my mum and 5 siblings. My dad left home when I was 7 years old. I struggled with that. I loved my dad so much. I used to see him walking down the road, going to work. I used to be crying at the window, "Dad, can I come with you? Dad, can I come with you?" And I used to enjoy seeing him walk down, going to work. But one day he didn't come home. He never came home. And I struggled with that. I struggled with him not coming home and not coming back. I later found out that he had an affair and him and my mum split up. But fast forward, at the age of 14, going to school, I was getting bullied. But I was getting bullied by the teachers. It wasn't the kids, funny enough. It was the teachers telling me I wouldn't be nothing in life. What a horrible thing to say to a 14-year-old. They were putting me in a corner. Yes, I had trouble with discipline, like every kid would, just growing up with their mum giving you, spoiling you, and everything like that. And things that was going on in the background at home. I wish that teacher had said to me, "Maurice, what is wrong with you? Can we help? Can we do something?" I thought that's what a teacher should be like, but he never. He put me through, degrading me. I felt like I wanted to cry at times. But fast forward from that, I left school with no qualifications, not knowing who I am, what I mean by that, no confidence, no belief. I did try and get a job, but there always seemed like there was a barrier there in London. I'm from London in the 70s. You know, there was one episode I went for a job and they said they had no vacancies. My friend, he was white, he went for the job, he got the job. I was like, wow, they said there was no job. He said, "Yes, Maurice, there was vacancies there." I struggled with that, but fast forward, I started to sell drugs. When they say money is the root of all evil, it's not. It's the love of money. And I started to love money, making money because I had none growing up. I started to enjoy the trappings of that sort of life, having money to buy jewelry, buying the car, you know, going partying and dancing and everything. I thought that was success. I thought I was successful. But I now know success isn't the money, the jewelry. Success is me speaking my truth here, right now. But fast forward, I was going to jail a couple of times, in and out of prison, still doing the same thing. They say that's insanity when you continue doing the same thing all the time. I guess I must have been crazy.
So,
say that again, sir?
I said, yeah, doing the same thing and expecting a different result.
Yeah, that's insanity. So I was mad because I was going to jail, still coming out, selling drugs. I became a big drug dealer. But when a catalyst happened in my life, which was when my 18-month-old son passed away, called Dwayne, that made me look up, that made me think, that made me sad, that made me feel so bad. I wanted to kill myself because I'm going to be sincere. I only hugged my son about 15 times in all that time, and now he was gone. Passed away tragically at home. I wanted a mindset reset, I can recall. My mum always used to say, Morris, come to church. And I said, Mum, I ain't got enough time to come to church because I was out there dancing and, you know, enjoying myself. But this time I needed to change my feelings, my mind. So I went to church and I seen people happy, clapping and everything and started to join in and get into that vibes. And what I want to say to everyone that's listening, adversity introduces a man to himself. It introduced me to myself. In the darkest hours, we have to focus on the light because you are the light. Depends what we think about, that's what we become. And I started to take the baby steps in working because I wanted to show my other kids that their dad could be something in life. And I started to work doing all little jobs, all sorts of jobs, couriering, salesman. I started to drive, doing executive driving. I met a man called Steve. After 8 years, I met a man called Steve, and he was the one that took me to new heights. And that's why I would say to every one of you, think what you're doing, enjoy what you're doing, because no matter how long it takes, it will happen for you. So what happened to me, I started to work with this guy called Steve and go to meetings with him. And he was setting up a hedge fund company. And I said, can I set up a company to do with your staff? He said, yes, Morris, that's a good idea. So I set up a company, a chauffeur company that now drives some of the biggest pop stars in the world, like Justin Bieber, Beyonce, Whitney Houston, what I done in 2010. Yes, this gangster became a businessman. I became a businessman. I never would have believed that I ever could have done something like that. And I started to enjoy working and doing my business and things like that. But I'm just going to say to every one of you, life continues and there's things that happen in our life that, you know, adversities, pain. But I'll say any pain is your gain. This may trigger. In 2007, I lost my sister, my best friend. She passed away tragically. She was 48 years old. And I felt that. I felt so bad losing my sister. Can you imagine that? I had to get over that, but my belief in God made me continue with my mindset. I just held on to the faith that I know that he had something for me. But then in 2010, I lost my mum, my dear mum, that taught me so much, manners and respect and everything that I needed to know. And me and my siblings were saying, at least we got our dad. But then in 2011, I lost my dad too. He was my best friend too. I got to know my dad and love my dad, and I knew the reason why he left us when I was 7 years old. I found him back when I was 16 and we became so close. And when he passed away, I felt that too. But I never stopped believing in God. But then in 2015, the biggest blow was when my wife committed suicide and left 2 kids, a 13-year-old and a 30-year-old. I was feeling that. I didn't want to be here. I wanted to leave this world. And in my darkest hours, I could remember saying, why me, God, why me? But I want to say to every one of you now, I say, try me, because I believe in me, I know me. And I don't know why God was chipping away at me, because I'm telling everyone, we get molded all different ways. But when God molds you, he says, walk this way. And I started to walk with God. Every time something happened, it got brighter and brighter. When they say Morris the Connector, ashes to ashes and dust to dust, I rise like a phoenix through the ashes. And I continued in my journey, but in 2018, I lost another son. But I understood, I knew why God. And when you know your why and your must, everyone, it's a powerful thing. And I believe he was chipping away at me. Just like Jesus died on the cross for us, I believe my son died for me. He died for me to take me out the darkness to the light, where it's shining bright right now. In the things I do, in everything I do, I have so much power now. And it's not about my power, it's about me empowering people, me empowering everyone I meet to show them that they too can go through whatever they want to grow through, because that's what we do, we grow through it. No pain, no gain, my energy is. I go to the gym to build muscle. That's what our experience is. And my experience was building wisdom and knowledge and gaining the power and the glory that God has given me. It's not about me anymore. My cup's overflowing now. It's about the service I give to others. There's many pleasures in life, but the best pleasure I get now is giving. When I give back and lift someone up, because God has given us, every one of us, time to take us out of here. Because here isn't eternity. If here was eternity, I would have remained the same.
Yeah.
But He's given us time to go and do what we need to do. So what I want to say to every one of you, the secret about getting ahead is getting started today. And I hope some of you have taken even a little bit out of my story to realize to yourself that your story will set you free and help somebody else. None of us gets out of here alive. This is a journey. We're here to win or learn. There's no losing in here. It's about showing the courage, because fear is a word that proclaims to be real. Fear is a reaction. Courage is a decision. And I want to leave you with this. Muhammad Ali said, the service we give to others is the rent we pay for being in here. Right now, I'm floating like a butterfly and stinging like a bee, because I have the power, just like Muhammad Ali. So let's go, everyone, and do what's necessary. No retreat, no surrender, and fight for what we want, because we have the weapons within us. Stop looking outside of yourself and connect to yourself, your inner child, and believe in yourself. When they say once a man, twice a child, I'm like a child of God again. Playing again, asking my Father for whatever I want, I get. So ask and it shall be given, everyone. Seek and you shall find, and knock and the door will be open for you. So remember, keep asking. Don't worry about when you're going to get it. Worry about what you're doing to get it. Thank you, Arcade.
Wow. What an inspiring story there, Morris. Thank you so much for sharing that. And and I'm really moved by your story, and I know that anyone also listening right now, it's more like this is just enough, right? So like inspire someone. But then I just have a couple of questions to ask you, because everybody's story is different. Everyone's story is different, right? And but then what would you say to someone who right now feels that the world is against me? I've gone through a whole lot, and right now I'm just thinking of taking my life or ending it all. How can they find the courage? How can they find the courage to say no to the limiting beliefs and limiting thoughts that wants to, hold them back from progressing, hold them back from, coming out of the quagmire that they might be in right now?
What I would say to that person, what I say as a coach, I would say, listen, in my darkest hours, I used to say, why me? Why me? But my thoughts determined my outcome, because when I thought about it and thought about how far, when I look back and see how far that God has brought me, that's a reason to smile. Getting up and having the right attitude, I would say, takes you to the right altitude to show gratitude. So I would say, look back at your life, look how far you have come, think about the good instead of the bad, because all of us go through good and bad. There's two ways. If you say you can and I say I can't, it's what we think we are. Because if I say I can, I can. If you say you can't, it's what your mind's thinking. So we've got to forget what we're thinking about sometimes, because that mindset, that thought, thousands of thoughts go around in our mind. Let's grab onto a good thought and say, thank God. I thank you, God, because I came through that, so I can get through this. And like I said, I felt like committing suicide when my wife, she was my common-law wife, who was together for 35 years. And when she passed away, I wanted to die too. But all the thoughts that was going through for 3 months, I was in depression, you know? And I would say to the person, and I do say to people, when you're thinking of the same thing all the time, you're going to get that result. You're just going to go deeper and deeper and deeper, and thinking about that thought becomes you. So be careful what you think about. They say life and death is in the power of the tongue. So we have to be careful what we say, because that's what we'll become. So we have to change the perspective, change the mindset, and think about something good to take us away, to fly away.
Wow, great stuff, Morris. And I remember something you said. You said adversity reveals us. Am I correct?
Adversity introduced the man to himself. It introduced me to myself, made me realize the power I really had. Yeah.
Okay. But then I know that sounds very, very nice to the ears, but how if for example I'm going through something and I see that the reaction I have towards that adversity is not something that is desirable, it is rather, injuring me. Say for example, someone is going through the loss of a relationship or the loss of a child, and he or she gets involved in taking of drugs and what have you, thinking that would sort of like heal. Is that a clear situation of the adversity revealing the man to himself? Or is there a way the man can change the narrative to say, okay, rather than, engage in drugs and, and do all sort of things, thinking that would help me to ease of the pain and all of that, right? How can I rather change the narrative and engage in positive actions, even in that moment of adversity?
I understand what you're saying. And, within my story, there's all examples. And when I was selling drugs for 12 years, so I was selling drugs for 12 years, enjoying that. When that adversity happened to me, that changed my mindset. Do you understand? So here's me enjoying that lifestyle. But then when I thought about it, and we have to think about that situation that we're faced with at this present time, like today. Every day I wake up, I'm happy. Some people say, how could you be happy every day? It's because I make sure. It's what I think about. So when that adversity happened to me, that took me away to make me realize that what I was doing wasn't the right way. Do you understand? So when something happens in our life, adversity, there's a reason for it. So we have to start thinking why this happened and what we're going to do about it. So it was either I went back to selling drugs and stay there, or continue in a different way in making sure that my other kids knew who their father was, or better my life through that. That's so when I say adversity introduced me to myself, that made me realize that what I was doing was wrong. Do you understand? What I was doing, need to do is something different to make myself happy. Because we can always be happier. Do you understand? Every day we could always be happier. It's what we think about in our doing. Do you understand? Because what it is, it's a habit. I had a habit of drinking and smoking and partying and selling drugs and everything that went with it. It's been 35 years I haven't smoked marijuana. 35 years I haven't drank alcohol. Do you understand? So I took myself away from that totally, and everybody wondered, how did you just quit drugs and everything like that? That's because I believed in God, and the Spirit came upon me, and deep inside of you is what you think about. And then it took baby steps for me to get the real power. Every step of the way, when something happened, I just trusted in God. And anybody that trusted God, they say, it's not seeing is believing, it's believing is seeing. And to get that belief, it takes baby steps to get to where I've got to. Because I believe anything is possible. I'm possible. Everything is possible.
It's possible.
Right? Nothing's impossible because you have the power and the glory. God has given us dominion in this world. A cat can only be a cat and a dog can only be a dog. But we could be whatever we want to be so long as we want to be or not to be. That's what it's about. So adversity, when you go through the pain, there's a reason why we go through pain, because telling us something is wrong. So when you go through the pain in life, it's telling you there's something wrong. So when you go through the pain of losing a loved one, we have to look at it like, no, we don't want to kill ourselves. We're going to feel that pain, but just think of the good times that you had with that person and try and move on by changing the mindset, because it's the thinking, it's the thought. Do you understand? It's the habit that we have that we can change at any time, the habits. I had to change many habits, right? So it's a habit. When we're growing, we build up a habit of thinking a certain way. So we have to change that way. So I would say to that person, listen, it takes time because healing is a process. When you get cut, it's a process to heal that cut. But we get through it, and we can get through anything so long as we believe. And it's about that. I would say believe in the process. Change happens, but progress doesn't. So we have to make progress in life and believe that God has got your back and there's no turning back once you believe in that.
Awesome. Okay. I just sort of remember the story of Joseph in the Bible, and if you look at all that Joseph went through, and eventually, if you look at all that he went through, you would say that they were all to prepare him for the future. All right. Okay. So now, so let's bring this, let's bring this back home. So someone is saying, okay, how can I, fine, I'm not Joseph, but and I can't see the future. But how can I get that assurance that whatever it is I'm going through right now, there's a purpose in it. There's a purpose in my pain. What are the things I can do, or are there tips, are there steps or anything that can help me ascertain that, oh, there is a purpose in my pain? Or is it something I just have to wait, and figure out later in the future? Or is this something I can know now and say, oh, I have this confidence that
it's not about waiting, it's what you're doing. And it's about what you're doing in your life that counts. I'm like Job. I had to go through many things to get to where I am right now. Do you understand? I wasn't always like this. Do you understand? I was the guy, if you look in my bio on my Instagram, you see a guy with more gold than Mr. T on Instagram. Do you understand? So that was my thought process. You understand? I never believed in God totally that anything could happen, but it's about believing in yourself and getting connected with yourself and knowing yourself that everything's possible. It's about, there's a process to go through, and this is the process to go through. Start thinking, because you become what you think about. And as you're thinking, think about how far you've come. Because I look back and see how far I've come. Right now, I'm riding on a first-class spiritual journey. Do you understand? Because when I look back and I see all the pain that I've been through, right?
Yeah.
No pain, no gain. I've gained through the pain. If we didn't have no pain, we wouldn't gain. We wouldn't know what we can take and what we could get through. I'm alive now, so there's a reason for it. So when I look back, and if you look back at your life, look back and say to yourself, I'm here now. How did I get here? I'm meant to be here. I'm breathing. So therefore, let me continue. And that's a reason to get up in the morning and show gratitude and say, yes, I'm going to make it happen today. It's having that attitude to reach to the right altitude. It's about attitude. Every successful businessman has the right attitude. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Right? It's about you become what you think about, and faith is believing what you can't see. So I would say to someone, and I say to people is, just think what you really want. Have a vision. They say without a vision, people perish. You know why? Because you don't know where you're going. If I had a car and you gave me directions, I'll find your house. If I didn't have no directions, I'll get lost. So many of us get lost. So we get lost in the world. But if we get lost in the Spirit of God, things will happen. The belief and everything will start to happen for us. Do you know what I mean? But we have to look like the sun doesn't burn unless it's focused. What are we focusing on? Because that's what we become. You understand? And we focused on the wrong things like I did. I was focusing on the wrong things, the drink, the drugs, the money, and forgetting about my son. And my son, I'm feeling it a bit now. My son passed away and I hugged him about 15 times, my friend. Do you know what I mean? That adversity, that upset me so much. It made me want to just leave what I'm doing to make sure that I could be a father to my other kids. That introduced me to myself because that was so painful. I didn't want to go back selling drugs. I stayed committed and disciplined. I'll say to everyone that's listening, when you say you want to do something, are you willing to fight for it? Are you willing to do it till you can't breathe? Because only then you're going to see what is meant to be. You have to fight. There's a fight here in this world. We have to fight because the power is within us. God has said we have to fight for our right. So I would say to every one of you, listen, what do you want to be? Have a vision, have a mission, have something that you want to take to give and offer people in this world, because you are special. You have a gift. We've got a different fingerprint, footprint, handprint, and blueprint. Enjoy the process. That's what I was saying. Enjoy the process.
Wow, great stuff, Mr. Morris. We're about bringing this to a wrap, and I just have like 2 or 3 questions to ask you as we wrap up with this. Okay, so I need you to help someone who is listening, and he or she is asking, okay, how can I let go of the past? My past just keeps, coming back to me and overwhelming me, and and it's sort of hindering me from from moving or to achieving the things that, that God has for me, or that I have, that I have as ambitions. What would you say to the person who is finding it difficult to let go of the past?
To let go of the past, when I look back at my past, we have to find a reason for the past, right? So we have to put something in place. Like I say in my testimony earlier, I said, when I look back, my son that died when he was 18 months old, man, he died for me. He took me out of the darkness. Look back at your past and find a reason for it in trusting in God, right? That he's brought you from where you was in your past to your future. We have to look forward. That's why a vision is most important. Stick to focusing. We become what we focus on. Do you understand? Where your focus goes, your mind goes. So if you're focusing on the past, that's where it's going to go. If I was there's many things I could focus on and go back and look at the past and cry. But why do I want to cry when God has given me my glory here? I'm still alive.
Wow.
So I can make it happen. And if you're breathing, there's a reason for it, because there's many of us that's not here now. So every morning I get up, I show gratitude for breathing. That's a reason to smile. To smile at the now. Are you feeling happy now? But let's do what we need to do now. Right now. I'm happy now being here now. I'm in London. I've got to wake up early. I'm on here because my friend asked me to be here. So every minute of the day, I'm happy. People say, how can you be? I say, because I make sure. But I could look back at the past and I could dwell on the past. I could become the past. There's many things I've done in the darkness when I was a drug dealer. Why do I want to look back to that and become that? I want to become Morris the connector that connects people to the light and the source of the glory of God, not connecting them to the darkness. So that's what we've got to focus on. And if you start focusing on what you really want, and you know what you really want, you'll get there. It takes baby steps, but you'll get there. Just keep doing it, and don't stop doing it. Then you'll become it.
Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Awesome. Okay. Yeah. So the other question I have for you is the question of why is it hard for many people to find their purpose in life? You know, a lot of people are living, but I could say they are surrounded by purposelessness, so they're living in a purposeless life, and it's not because they want to, but because they think it's hard, to find purpose in life. What would you advise?
I would
People
advise them
in
this,
such.
right? What's hard becomes easy, because it's easy for me now. It's hard before. It was really hard to tell them. Like I said, I used to say, why me? Why me, God? Why me? I believe in you. So why me? But now I say, try me, because I know why. What you need to do. And within my journey, you can see I was a drug dealer. Adversity introduced me. My son passed away. That was the biggest catalyst of my life when he passed away. I lost a brother many years before that got stabbed to death. But it was my son that took me out the darkness. And when that took me out the darkness and I started to go to church, this was the key to it. I started to enjoy going to church. I started to enjoy my environment. They say you're a product of your environment. And I believe, yes, I was. I was in that environment, in the darkness. Now I was in the light, following the footsteps with God, and he was pushing me forward. Every time I stepped back because something happened, he lifted me, pushed me forward. And I was enjoying the ride. So I would say to that person, enjoy the ride. Find something that you love. Find something that you like. When we say we can't find our purpose, are you enjoying what you're doing? Many people are going to work and they don't like that job. But I've got news for you. You can change it. You can change it. Just do it, because it will happen for you. And what I did, I started doing different jobs until I found something I liked. But then it brought me to here. Right now, I'll share this with you. I'm going to be a show host on Apple TV. I'm going to be hosting a show in 2 months' time on Apple TV. This gangster's going to be on TV, be a show host. I'm writing a book. I'm doing a documentary from the book to become a film. I'm an international speaker. I'm a coach.
Yeah.
I run a chauffeur company that drives some of the biggest pop stars in the world. Justin Bieber's coming next week. And I also have a charity for the kids, to empower the kids so that they can become leaders, to teach them life skills and empowerment. I want to open a school in Ethiopia and one in London. I have a team around me that we're going to do that. Now, if you had told me I would become all these things years ago, I would say you're crazy, because I couldn't even get a job. But what I'm saying to every one of you, you can be what you want to be, but what do you really want to be? Ask yourself that question today. What do I really want to be? Because what I really want to be, that's what you can be, what you want to be. Success is me now. You are the pen and paper to your story. You could play the victim or the hero. I believe I'm the hero now because I'm writing it. And you can write it today just by figuring out what you really like. That will become your gift. That will become your purpose. Whatever you love doing, enjoy what you're doing. If you don't enjoy it, don't do it. Yeah. Many people say, I have to pay this bill. No, don't do it, because believing is seeing. Having faith that no matter what, God has got your back in your doing. So what are you doing? So that's what I would say. Enjoy what you're doing and you'll find your purpose. It doesn't happen just then. It's a journey, but it's what you're doing to make it happen. Don't worry about when. Because many people will say, when am I going to find, look, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this. Don't worry about it. I didn't become this person like this. It took me 35 years to be this person I am here now. But I was enjoying the ride. Thank you for listening.
Wow, thank you so much, Maurice the Connector. Okay, so final words on this subject of moving from pain to purpose. Yeah.
My final words on pain to purpose is this, right? Every one of us, there's no difference between me and anyone. When we talk about pain to purpose, right? My pain is my pain. Your pain is your pain. I don't want your pain. I've got my own pain. Everybody's got their own pain. It's what we do through the pain. Are we going to build muscle? Are we going to build wisdom and philosophy and our blueprint through that pain to be able to become what we really need to become? Because not about the pain. It's what we become through the pain. So I would say to every one of you, get up, stand up, like Bob Marley said, and fight for your rights, because you have a gift, you have a purpose, and we're all here to serve with it. So let's go. Get it.
Wow, what an inspiring time this has been for me, and I'm sure for everyone who has been listening to the conversation today. Thank you so much, Maurice the Connector. Your story is an inspiring one, and it's also full of lots of insights that can help anyone who is currently experiencing pain, and help them from moving from their pain to finding purpose in life. Thank you so much. You've shared lots of things, and I've taken down a couple of notes, and I'm sure every listener would also be doing the same and also be applying these principles to themselves, because you are a testament to this particular conversation. Despite all that you experienced, the loss of a child, the loss of a wife, and and a whole lot of stuff, and how you found God, which is very important in life. To do anything worthwhile in life, you need God. You need the...
Feel good, everyone.
Yeah.
Feel God.
Yeah. And that is very important, to doing anything worthwhile in life. And I really want to thank you so much for coming on the show. And thank you for being vulnerable, sharing your stories with us today. Thank you so much. Okay, guys, I believe, this is one episode you don't want to just listen alone. You want to take out time to share this episode with someone out there, so that they also can as well be inspired, just like you and I have been inspired today. So to do that, you can just look out for the share button, share this episode, on any platform you're listening or watching from. And also, you can as well go ahead and follow. If this is your first time, listening to this podcast, you can follow or subscribe, and also give reviews. These reviews helps us to know how best we can do, or how well we can do better, and also, the sort of content you would love us to as well bring your way. I've been speaking with Maurice the Connector. Mr. Maurice, how can people find you so that they could also get to know what you're about, and and also get inspired by some of your other resources?
You can find me on Instagram. I am Maurice the Connector, all one word. I am Maurice the Connector. You can find me on my website, which is morristheconnector.com. I have a Focus and Believing program that I help people start to focus, like I was speaking about, focus and get their mindset right in focusing in what they need to focus on instead of what they don't need to focus on, and putting them right on track, because sometimes people are stuck or need someone to talk to. Every successful businessman or every successful athlete, they have a coach. There's a reason for it, but yet we don't have no one. The Bible, that's the most read book in the world. And in it says, ask and it shall be given. Seek and you shall find. We need to ask. You know, the Bible is the book, like the iPhone as a manual. That's the manual. I believe success is predictable. We have to read and study. So if anybody wants to contact me, I'm there for you. I have a free webinar that I do sometimes, or I could do a free one-to-one discovery session where we can have a chat and take it further. So follow me on Instagram. I am Morris the Connector. Connect on my website, morristheconnector.com, or Twitter, Morris the Connector, or LinkedIn. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Morris the Connector. So that is all for me and my special guest today on the Faith Culture Podcast. Until I come your way next time, go on, get out your faith. God bless you.